Oh, wake up, dude. People still out walking dogs and that.
On a cloudy night beneath a full moon, YouTuber CJ Faison from the channel CJ Faison records this video uploaded on September 15th, 2022, as he and Chris Beard drive their van onto Burnt Bridge. The vehicle behind him, known as the motivated van, is where they intend to stay for all night. They park on a haunted bridge often shown on his channel, a recurring sight in the Burnt Bridge series. Each time they visit Burnt Bridge, something strange and intense seems to happen. This night takes place under a full moon, with an overcast sky and a heavy atmosphere. Local stories say old rituals once opened something here, leaving the woods marked by a dark, uneasy presence. The first signs come through the electronics. A device in CJ's pocket turns on by itself, making a metallic sound before he even reaches for it. The area already feels like it is reacting.
Very clear. How was that? I don't know. Jeez. How did that turn on in my back pocket? Come on. There's no way.
That's weird.
Did you see that?
Yeah, what was that? This is getting creepy. This is getting really, really creepy.
Then distant gunshots break the silence. Two sharp echoes come from the nearby brush.
He's down there right now. He is getting ready to do this. His method. Bro, that's a gunshot, bro. That's two. Now I got a hey, car coming. Okay, so as you all can see, I've repositioned the camera just a little bit. We heard gunshots. We sat here for like 10 or 15 minutes. Nothing else heard. So if there's any spirits here on this bridge, can you let my friend Chris know what your name is first?
I said it's me.
That's Chris, way down there. The light on the right side of the bridge.
Leave.
I just heard leave. What year did you pass away and why are you here?
Trouble. Regret. You shouldn't be here.
Can you tell me your name?
It was them.
Can you go touch my friend?
Probably someone just touched me. I thought CJ or someone was over here. That was weird. Pay attention.
Okay, pay attention to what though? What would make you upset? What if I said the word burn or fire? Does that upset you?
Stop what you're doing.
The session grows more intense when a spirit box is used. It's static, forming a warning tone that seems to tell them to stop. They eventually go back to the van to rest, but the situation moves from distant to physical.
Oh, wake up, dude. The van was just swaying side to side, dude.
We should go out there and look for it.
I'm not going out there, dude.
Is the van still rocking?
Feel it. There's no way it's that windy right now. Dude, that's not a good idea, bro.
You're not going out?
No. Dude, you should not be going out there. Why didn't you close the door?
I ain't forcing them to do anything you don't want to do. I don't know why the camera just got blurry, but it did.
Anything?
No, did we just like imagine that happening or something?
There's no way. I felt like I was gonna fly out of my seat.
The van starts rocking side to side, even though there is no wind in the area. The whole vehicle shakes hard, as if something unseen is pushing it. CJ steps out alone onto the bridge, trying to provoke a response. Almost at once, a loud impact strikes the van, a heavy hit against the window, followed by a shadow appearing on the glass.
Oh! Me! What was that?
Okay.
What did you see or what did you hear? What happened?
I went and stood on the bridge. I swear on my life, Chris, I held my hands like this. I said, if there's anything good or evil here, I want to invite you to come here.
What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, it's not the van.
I'm getting to my fucking floor, is what I'm doing. There's gotta be somebody, right?
You wanna go out there and look? Cause I don't.
No, I'm fucking laying in the floor. I'm not getting the fuck up until the fucking morning, Chris.
There's somebody out there, bro. I literally just looked like there was like a figure standing in the middle of the door.
Fucking A. Dude, it banged on the fucking window.
They hurry back inside and lock the doors. The sense of something outside remains strong. At one point, a figure-like shape is seen near the door. Unable to confirm what it was, they decide not to wait until morning and leave immediately. Situations like this often fall between real danger and misinterpretation, where fear shapes the experience and small details become larger. But when events happen back to back, it leaves one simple question. Was it only stress and coincidence, or was something truly there watching them? This camping encounter unfolds on November 28, 2024, as Moxley and Ming from Moxley Paranormal World climb the dark slopes of Pendle Hill.
Right, so we're heading up to our camp spot now, up into Pendle Hill for the night. Look how rocky it's getting now.
The ascent is difficult as the terrain grows more rocky, and they keep moving upward with the intention of camping there overnight. The ground beneath them is connected to the 1612 witch trials, where 10 people were accused of murder by witchcraft and later executed by hanging. The climb is draining, and on the way up, they find a strange abandoned trailer with animals inside, sitting in the middle of the wilderness. Its presence feels out of place, almost like a silent warning connected to the location's past.
What the hell?
What the hell?
It's a van.
There's a van in front of us.
I was so nervous then walking up to this. Whoa! What is in that? Oh, that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
A trailer with an animal in it. That is very, very unusual.
Leaving that in the middle of nowhere.
I know, yeah.
The hill behind them shows how far they have already come, but the discovery leaves an uneasy feeling as they continue. When the moon slips out of view, a dark silhouette appears along the trail. It stays for a brief moment, watching before fading back into the trees around them. The figure seems to move fast, shifting from the path into the woods, then appearing again just as suddenly as it disappeared.
Look at it. It was over this side first, and it was like it moved fast through on the path behind us, and then it was in the woods. There it is again. So we were literally just finished setting everything up, just sat down to have a quick drink, and then just behind me, at the wall, it was like chick, 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 like something moved past. Ming, keep your torch there. Yeah. There was something moved down there then. Right. It was like a shadowy figure.
Right, okay.
Hello? I swear, I just seen something move down here. It's like the silhouette of a person. Is there someone here? Is there someone back there? I know I'm not losing my mind. A silhouette of a person stood here when I looked over.
Right.
And then as soon as you put the torch over, there's nobody here.
Right.
That caught us off guard, that.
Yeah.
That really caught us off guard.
The noise, is it?
They check the area, but find nothing. Even though the presence feels close and difficult to deny, the atmosphere starts changing as they continue trying to communicate.
Fred,
We need you to help us.
we need you to help us.
Wow.
What would you like help with? You the people that were wrongfully accused of witchcraft.
It sounds like this is happening. The way things are happening.
That's that we heard that earlier on. And then I seen that shadowy figure over there.
Yeah, that was down there, wasn't it?
Yeah. You said, we need you to help us. Who needs help?
Understanding.
I do have to say the silence out here it's very eerie. Not too long ago, while sat over there, you were hearing the birds chirping away, flying around.
That's what we were looking in the trees for before when we heard them noises.
Police.
We're not police in the area. We're just here to communicate if we can, and you're willing to do so.
Right, we can keep hearing walking. Oh, what sounds like walking.
Right, that sounded like
Mistrust.
what? What did I say?
Mistrust. That'd
wonder-
fit in here with the story of Pendle Hill.
Yeah.
Because she wrongfully accused an entire family.
Right.
Mistrust.
The silence around them becomes more disturbing. Earlier natural sounds, including birds, are gone, replaced by an unnatural stillness. Occasional noises keep echoing through the dark, hard to place and impossible to confirm by sight. Words coming through the device suggest mistrust, matching the historical events tied to the location. The spirit box grows more intense, producing a clearer response that includes a plea for help, followed by the name Alice Nutter, one of the people executed during the witch trials. As the night gets deeper, distant laughter rises from near a stream, adding to the tension. Back at the tent.
Right, so I literally just sat back at the tent, just talking. And that was laughing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we heard coming from this way.
There's nothing down there because that's where the stream is.
Hear it? Hello!
The laughter returns from the same direction. Even though nothing can be seen near the water, the area remains empty, but the sound is clear. Soon after, the feeling of movement begins surrounding the campsite. Footsteps, cold and unseen, circle the tents as the air becomes heavier. The feeling grows overwhelming, and Moxley gets a strong instinct to leave the mountain immediately. Moments like this can feel real even without clear proof, especially in a place filled with history and isolation. But when the sounds, movements, and responses all connect, it leaves one simple question. Was this only the mind reacting to the setting, or was something else truly there with them? The account comes from Man Dog Wild, an outdoor bushcraft channel focused on solo wilderness camping and deep forest exploration. On April 12, 2020, the creator traveled to a remote woodland in the United Kingdom to spend the night by himself. Before he had even finished building his shelter, he shared a local story tied to that exact stretch of land. Two hunters had reportedly seen a tall, dark figure standing partly hidden in the brush. What made the story linger was not only what they saw, it was what followed. Both men reportedly suffered sudden, intense headaches at the exact moment the figure appeared, just before it disappeared completely. No proof. No confirmation, but enough to shape the mood. He stayed anyway.
So I guess it would have been round about now, dusk, that our hero would have encountered, would have had that encounter. Dusk and dawn are probably the creepiest times when out here in the wilderness. You know, things just look different. They do look different than during the day. I remember walking a trail once. I was walking it throughout the day. Coming back at night, the trail looked completely different. It had me thinking, is this the right way? It's just gotten really windy all of a sudden. We're going to be in for a bit of a breezy night.
Later that night, something changed. Several lights appeared in the sky above him, moving together in a tight group. They were too far away to record clearly on camera, but visible enough to stand out against the darkness. His first thought was satellite, specifically Starlink, which seemed like a reasonable explanation at the time.
I checked the Starlink tracker this morning, and according to that, it wasn't Starlink last night. And I've seen Starlink before, long line, lots of lights. This wasn't like that. This was a very much shorter line, maybe 6, 7 lights close together.
By the next morning, that explanation no longer worked. He opened a satellite tracking tool to check what had passed overhead during that period. Nothing lined up. No scheduled movement matched what he had seen, and the compact grouping of the lights did not resemble the long, evenly spaced pattern Starlink usually creates. The answer he had accepted no longer fit. The rest of the night had been uneventful wind, forest noise, and isolation. Nothing came near, and nothing moved on the ground. But the focus of the experience had quietly shifted upward, because what he saw in the sky was the part that resisted a simple answer. Not proven, not explained. Just something witnessed that did not match what it was supposed to be. The Starlink theory was the most logical place to start, yet it still failed. Something was up there that night, and the tracker showed nothing. What do you think those lights were, and would you have stayed there after hearing the hunter's story? Ghost theory are two adventurers and paranormal enthusiasts traveling across the UK in search of places known for strange activity, trying to separate truth from legend. The video was uploaded on April 12, 2026. Despite what the name may suggest, these two do not create scares for the camera. Their style focuses more on real exploration and historical background than reacting to every shadow, noise, or moving shape. In this video, however, they decided to camp in what many call the most haunted forest in the UK, and what they encountered had nothing to do with the paranormal.
We've just arrived here in this beautiful forest, and obviously being a day, it's not so bad, but we're going to be exploring this forest to try and get to all the most haunted areas.
Epping Forest has stood here for thousands of years, once serving as a royal hunting ground for kings and nobles. This forest wasn't just a wilderness, it was dangerous. Outlaws used these woods as cover, disappearing into the trees after robberies along nearby roads.
There have been so many places for people to hide.
I mean, it still is currently 600 acres, but during Dick Turpin's time, this would have been more like 20,000.
That's bigger than it is now.
Epping Forest has been around for thousands of years. During medieval times, it served as a royal hunting ground for kings and nobles. It was never simply a peaceful section of woodland. Outlaws, highwaymen, and smugglers all used the trees for cover, disappearing into the forest after robberies on nearby roads. Night arrived quickly. Soon, the two were walking along the forest trail in darkness, searching for a place to set up their tent and stay for the night.
Just heard what sounds like a bottle.
Does it sound like rustling?
I mean, here is very, very campsite-y.
It's so silent here. Do you know, they say just everything dies here. Like, the sound dies, things don't live, and it is just silent. It's been so noisy.
Right.
That is bizarre, isn't it?
We got the campsite set up as quick as possible so that we could begin investigating straight away. This is a time-lapse, but not actually that quick.
After camp was ready, they moved through the trees to check whether anything unusual was happening. They spent quite a while doing this. Nothing stood out. They returned to the tent to settle down, and that was when the atmosphere changed.
Red light was still on. Was it? Come on. Is it recording? Yeah. I'm going to turn my light on because... Wow. That is...
Footsteps were heard just outside the tent. They stepped out to check. Nothing could be seen. Whatever made the sound was either gone or no longer nearby, or that was what they thought. They turned on an infrared thermometer to scan the tree line for heat signatures. What showed up on the device was enough to make them both run.
Is that heat signatures in the water?
I don't know. It's just the log, isn't it?
Look. Can you see?
Where is that?
That's just across, literally straight across where the lights were coming from.
Yeah, thank you. That's enough for me to know.
Yeah.
That is absolutely more than fucking enough for me to know.
That's someone.
Yeah.
That's someone there.
Hello?
The shape of a man was visible behind a tree across from them, partly hidden and watching. They immediately connected him to the footsteps they had heard circling the tent earlier. The history of the forest made his presence feel far more threatening than it might have felt somewhere else. They grabbed their gear and left without hesitation. The possibility that the man followed their movement all the way toward the forest edge made the situation worse. Places like this carry real danger, and the threat is not always the kind legends warn about. A man hiding in the dark and watching two people at their tent is difficult to dismiss as curiosity. The forest has a long history of people using it to remain unseen, and that context makes the sighting even more unsettling. Do you think he was only a stranger passing through, or was there something more deliberate in how he watched them? This disturbing camping encounter comes from the channel Grizzly Gaz, where Gaz regularly films wild camping trips, fun camping journeys, backpacking adventures, and remote explorations. During his travels, he often shares the local history and folklore tied to the places he visits with his audience. Gaz is an experienced outdoorsman with a deep love for nature and camping, and he frequently brings his dog Fendi with him on these outings. On March 8th, 2026, Gaz headed out for another wild camping trip high on the remote moors, a place long connected to ancient pagan history and old folklore. The area was far from civilization and removed from the normal rhythm of daily life.
Look at it. Glorious, isn't it? Oh my word. Where are you off? We're going up this way. Come on. Yeah, alright, you're struggling, aren't you, already, kid? Look at it. It's called the Sphinx. Or I could just be making all this up. You never know, do you? Look at her. Loving life, aren't you, mate? Go on. Here we go, look. The staple of every wild camper's diet. Whoop. Yummy nums. It was like a grey colour before, but well, it still looks grey.
Once darkness fully settled over the forest, Gaz got inside his tent to rest. Just as the night grew quiet, something suddenly caught his attention.
Can you hear that? What is that? Hear that? Look, 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 look. It's probably a train in distance. People still out walking dogs and that.
At first, he heard a faint sound that seemed like wind chimes carrying through the trees. Curious, Gaz looked outside and saw two people walking up the hill with a dog. Thinking the sound had come from them, he dismissed it and went back into his tent, believing they were only passing through without noticing his campsite.
The hippies come to get me. Why is there loads of people wandering about on moors? What time is it? I don't know where my phone is. Where's my phone? They just stood outside my tent talking. Mate, it's nearly 10:30 at night.
But only a few minutes later, he heard something outside the tent again, this time much closer. The sound appeared to be right near the camp. Soon after, he began hearing movement outside the tent. followed by multiple voices speaking just beyond the fabric. Gaz stayed completely still and listened closely, but he could not make out the words. The voices sounded low and strange, yet they were extremely close. What unsettled him even more was realizing this was the second time someone had come near his tent, almost as though they were circling the campsite, feeling uncomfortable. Gaz decided not to confront them and remained silent inside. After some time, the voices faded and the forest became quiet again. Eventually, he fell asleep.
It's 20 to 4 in the morning, and I can hear that. I've been hearing like screams. It's really weird. I don't know if it's some sort of bird or if it's actually someone screaming. It's far away, like. Oh, I'm too tired for this, man. Well, as long as it don't get closer, I'll be alright. Well, it's 4:15 now, and I can't get back to sleep. Oh, look how cold it is.
Later, Gaz explained that he also heard distant screaming during the night. Although the screams were never caught on camera, faint clacking sounds could be heard outside the tent. The people he had seen earlier were first spotted higher on the hill, yet somehow they kept coming back closer to the campsite. At times, seeming to move around his tent, this created an uncomfortable question. Why would anyone keep approaching a lone campsite in the middle of the night? One possibility is that their intentions were unclear, though that cannot be confirmed. Given the location, the situation felt suspicious. The area was remote and far from civilization, and reaching that spot was not something most people would do casually, especially near midnight. Just knowing strangers might be lingering around your tent in that kind of isolation is enough to make anyone uneasy. What made this camping encounter even more disturbing were the screams Gaz claimed to hear, sounds that were never captured in the recording. Whether those noises were connected to the people he saw or something completely separate remains unknown. In the end, Gaz left the area unharmed, but the intentions of whoever or whatever was out there that night remain a mystery. If you suddenly heard voices moving around your tent late at night, what would you do? The next disturbing footage comes from a van called Dignity, a UK-based van life channel following Steve and Liz as they travel full-time. Their videos cover daily van life, campervan upgrades, and the rewarding but difficult reality of living on the road in a self-built van. Most of their trips are peaceful and scenic, but on this journey, a normal drive suddenly became an unexpected camping encounter. The video was uploaded on July 2nd, 2025. While driving between filming spots for their 3-month van life anniversary video, Steve and Liz left the A1 near Team Valley and headed toward Lobley Hill. As they reached a large roundabout and began climbing a steep hill, they came across a group of young men riding electric bikes in the road. One rider pulled a wheelie near the van, forcing Steve to slow down while going uphill in low gear. Worried by how close the rider was getting, Steve briefly honked the horn to ask for space.
Got to the traffic lights, that's when they sort of looked like they were going to turn off to the right, and then basically began following us. And no word of a lie, they were hunting us down. So they were chasing.
Moments later, the riders sped up and began following the van. As the chase continued, several of them slowed near the roadside to grab stones and small rocks. They started throwing them at the moving van while continuing to chase the vehicle.
They're stopping. It's easy to look back and now and realise what they were doing. And then they were starting off and tearing up towards us. What I realise now that they were doing is they were grabbing rock stones from the side of the road and throwing them at the van. After it all finished, we realised they were throwing anything that they could find.
Yeah.
And eventually they got to the side window, threw a rock. As we have already explained, it shattered the window. It was pretty terrifying at the time, I'm not going to lie.
Eventually, one rider reached the side of the van and threw a larger rock straight at the side window. The impact shattered the glass, cracking the entire pane while Steve kept driving to get away from the situation.
I was also on the phone to the police, who were trying to ask me where our location was. So we're constantly moving, so we couldn't give them a solid location. Plus, I'm trying to ask Stevie where we are.
Liz called the police while Steve focused on steering through busy afternoon traffic, trying to put distance between them and the riders. After damaging the van, the group suddenly ended the chase and disappeared from the area. After the incident, Steve and Liz drove to a safer place where they could stop and speak with police. Officers arrived soon afterward and gathered details about what had happened. Liz gave them screenshots and footage she had recorded during the chase to help with the investigation, because the case became an active police matter. The couple explained that the full footage could not be released publicly. In the meantime, they temporarily covered the broken window with tape, plastic sheeting, and a board while waiting for a replacement. The experience shows that life on the road can sometimes bring unexpected danger. If something like this happened during your own camping encounter on the road, what would you do?